All right, hey, what's up, guys? This is Justin from Extreme Health Radio. I saw this thing in the magazine the other day, and I just could not help but share this with you. Oh my goodness, I could not believe it. Kate and I were just laughing at this ad, but it's actually really kind of sad, and it's actually an ad for a pharmaceutical drug in Country Living magazine, the June 2015 issue. Let me put that up there. Country Living, June 2015, and it's for a company that's putting out a drug for pneumonia. Pneumococcal pneumonia. Okay, and it says it's now recommended by the CDC for adults 65 plus. And it has a nice guy. It looks like he's a gentleman about 65 plus. Let me put that up to the screen. That's 65 plus, and he's doing a push-up. And I'm just going to read a little bit of this and just show you sort of the subliminal, sort of subconscious programming that they give to people, and they're trying to sort of disempower people with these kinds of ads. And there's a lot that goes, I want people to realize there's a lot that goes into these ads. These ads are designed in a very methodical, specific way that they have to get approved on many different levels in order for these things to be rolled out. The language has to be perfect. The vibe of what they're doing and trying to tell people, it has to be correct. It has to invoke a certain feeling. And the same goes for the network news or the television news or the commercials that they have. For most of the world, I don't think drug companies can advertise in commercials on network television, but in the United States, in the late 90s, that became possible. And now all you see are ads trying to disempower people and get them on more drugs. So it says, now recommended by the CDC for adults 65 plus. Okay, that's the first little thing at the top left of this thing. And I'd invite you guys to look into the CDC and to look at what they've been a part of and see if the CDC is something that is viable and that should be trusted, because it's just saying now recommended by the CDC, as if the CDC is the ultimate authority on our health, right? It's assuming that you believe also the CDC is somehow an authority figure on your health. And so I'd invite you, just because it says it's recommended by these people that run the CDC, look into the CDC, see if they're viable. If they are, go for it. You can trust them. If not, you got to ask some questions about when you see these types of ads. It says here, what if one push-up could help protect you from heart disease? Wishful thinking, right? But, this is good, but there is one step that can help protect you from another serious disease, pneumococcal pneumonia, the Prevnar 13 vaccination. Okay, so that's very, very subtle, but that's only, two sentences? Actually, 3 sentences on here. Very interesting, the programming they're putting here. So it's saying, what if one push-up could protect you from heart disease? This is an age-old sales technique. It's like when salesmen ask you, imagine yourself driving this car, right? Imagine yourself wearing this jewelry. Imagine yourself, what would life be like? Just imagine yourself, right? That's just a sales tactic. It's asking you, it's not saying imagine, but it's saying what if? So it's asking you about, it's getting your mind conditioned for a possibility, and it just turns out that the possibility they're going to give you happens to be Prevnar 13. Shocking, right? But it says, what if, interesting use of a couple words, one push-up could help protect you from heart disease. And then it says wishful thinking, right? So it's saying heart disease, and it's saying push-ups, and push-ups is something that we all can do to become healthier people, to be stronger versions of ourselves. We can get tremendous benefits from push-ups. It's a great exercise. But it's telling you that, because the next line says wishful thinking. So it's telling you that push-ups have no effect on heart disease. In essence, it's almost correlating the ability for you to do anything is going to have no effect on heart disease. So no matter what kind of diet you eat, no matter what kind of lifestyle you live, no matter how you lower your stress, no matter what kind of exercise and fitness routines you do, it doesn't really matter, because heart disease is something that kills everybody, and there's no known cause. We don't know what causes it, right? And it's also correlating, I want you to see this, that it's correlating heart disease with pneumococcal pneumonia. And I suspect if you were to do a study on how many people per year die from heart disease versus pneumococcal pneumonia, I bet it's orders of magnitude more people die from heart disease. So what they're trying to do is equate pneumococcal pneumonia with heart disease. And they're trying to get you fearful of the fact that there's no known cause. Push-ups, no matter what you do, nothing can protect you from heart disease, right? In the same way, there's another serious disease. So it says here, but there is one step. So the use of the word but is interesting because it almost negates the previous declaration in any sentence. I love you, but, right? It almost clears away anything you said prior to the word but. That's why in NLP and neuro-linguistic programming, they use the word and. And is a nice bridge between two concepts that should be melded together. So, but they use the word but here. But there's one step. So they're not giving you multiple steps. In fact, there are many ways for all of us to increase our overall health and our lung health. And what they want to make you think is that pneumonia and lung diseases is an isolated thing, and the lungs work in an isolated way from the heart, and the heart works in an isolated way from the liver. But in actuality, all of these organs are detoxification organs. All of these organs work synergistically together at certain times of the day, and they all are predicated upon our hormone levels and our stress levels. But it says there's one step. There's only one step. And thank God it's here, right? Prevnar 13. Thank God. It's amazing. I can't believe that it's 2015 and we finally have a way to overcome pneumococcal pneumonia with Prevnar 13. There's one step that can, doesn't say will, can help protect. So help protect. Interesting. Help protect you from another serious disease, pneumococcal pneumonia. So I invite you to ask yourself why it uses the word can and not will. The reason why it says can is because they don't know if this will protect you. They really don't know. All they know is what they've studied. And let me tell you, they roll these vaccines out so fast with barely any studies, barely any tests, barely any interactions with other pharmaceutical medications. It's absolutely amazing how they do that. But it says they can help. Okay, so can's interesting. Help is interesting. It's interesting to me. What can be helped here? It can help protect you. So what is the drug Prevnar 13 helping you with, right? What is it helping? Well, it's helping your immune system because it's not saying that Prevnar 13 can protect you. It says it can help protect you. So if you're helping someone move rocks from one side of the area to another, or move a couch up and down the stairs, if you say that you're going to help them, then it's implied that you're not the only one that's doing the heavy lifting, right? So what's doing the heavy lifting in your body? Your immune system, right? Because this Prevnar 13 is claiming to help, but what it's actually saying is helping your immune system, right? So why is your immune system so weak and so feeble and so broken that you're unable to live on planet Earth without a company like Pfizer producing a drug, a pharmaceutical cocktail called Prevnar 13? That's the real question. Why do we need to be propped up by vaccinations and antibiotics and vaccines and drugs and chemicals simply just to live on this earth? What's wrong with us as a culture and as a society that we need these things to be propped up? And so it's a very interesting question because in actuality, we've never, over the course of hundreds of thousands or millions of years, we've never needed Pfizer or Prevnar 13 or these types of things. We've never needed these things to be able to live on planet Earth. God has provided the bacteria, the incredible immune system for us to survive. He's given us everything. Our bodies are imbued with this knowledge of how to take care of itself, right? But it says, and help protect you. It doesn't say how it's going to protect you because they don't know. They don't know how it's going to protect you. If they were to have 25 pages to tell you all the ways in which it would protect you. They don't know the biological transmutation and the biological process of the chemical inside the body that turns to this enzyme and switches off that enzyme and does all this work in helping to turn on this immune system. And they don't know. All they know is they can just say it's help protect you. Some nebulous, generalized platitude that has no real meaning on actual biology in real human life. It just says help protect you from another serious disease. So they use the word serious because everyone knows that serious, they've already used heart disease, so they want to equate heart disease with this pneumonia. And here they have it, the Prevnar 13 vaccination. And so I want to invite you guys to look at how they're using fear in the world today, in media and commercials. Remember back in the early 2000s, there was anthrax. Remember that? Supposedly, half the population was supposed to die off from anthrax, and people were getting these bombs in the mail, and there was anthrax in the letters, and all this stuff turned out to be gone away. West Nile, remember that? West Nile disease? I don't know what happened to that, but apparently that never caught on because here we are in 2015. I don't know of one person who's ever had West Nile disease. And the next one, remember SARS? That was huge. Everyone was supposed to have SARS. Remember you had the people in China with the gas, or not the gas masks, but the surgical masks in the airports and all that stuff, flying on airplanes. It's insane what these people are doing. Bird flu. Remember bird flu? Everyone was supposed to die of the bird flu. That was a big deal. All of a sudden that just sort of went away. It never caught on. Apparently bird flu is not as popular as they thought it would be. E. coli, that was another one from, I think that was from, they said, tainted spinach, where people were dying and all this stuff. And I'm telling you, every couple of years they come up with a new scare tactic. And it's not just in the realm of health, but it's in every area of life, whether it's terrorism and weapons of mass destruction, all this garbage. E. coli, swine flu, that was another one. Remember that? Everyone was supposed to have swine flu and die. And the big one was Ebola. I thought that was interesting. I read a book called The Hot Zone by Richard Preston back in the early 90s, and it was talking about Ebola. And it makes perfect sense to me that would come back around. They would try to get people afraid of these Ebola. It's supposed to liquefy your internal organs and your whole body, and it's supposed to kill all these people in Africa and all this stuff. But lo and behold, here we are, 2015, we're doing pretty good. So I invite you to look into, do a Google search and search for drugs, the top 10 recalled drugs or pharmaceutical medications. You're going to run across things like Fen-Phen. Remember that? 50,000 people died and were affected by that before they recalled it. Vioxx, 140,000 people. You have all these drugs that people are being recalled. You have Yasmin, and thousands of women suffered some serious complications from Yasmin. The FDA study showed a 74% increased risk of dangerous blood clots, prompting advocates to force a recall. You have, let me see a couple other ones. Accutane, remember that one? It's causing birth defects and Crohn's disease and all kinds of suicidal thoughts in people. Vioxx was linked to more than 38,000 deaths at one time. And it's just incredible. So I invite you to look into these recalls and how they are trying to sell you on this stuff. And also, I'll put a link to this in the description, but there's a really great book called Selling Sickness that I read about 15 years ago, Selling Sickness. And it goes into all of this stuff and how they program people. So I'm going to read just one little paragraph and then I'll be done on my rant. But I just want you to see how they're selling fear and they're trying to get people to look outside themselves. It says, are you over the age of 50? Your risk of getting pneumococcal pneumonia is higher. Interesting how they even know that. They don't even know who you are, right? I mean, if just by virtue of being over 50 years old, your risk, what risk? What is the risk itself high or low? Or just because you have a risk doesn't mean that the actual risk itself is high or low. They don't define risk of getting this pneumonia is higher. They don't say how high. So the very first sentence is asking you a question. Yes, I'm over 50. Okay. Now that I've already agreed and I found some sort of rapport and camaraderie with the person writing this ad, I feel good about reading the next sentence, which is them saying that I'm at risk and my risk is higher, right? So it says it's a serious disease. Second time they've used the word serious, disease that could, not will, but could put you in the hospital. I was just laughing reading this, put you in the hospital as if, there are many people, thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people have been to the hospital, and that's not a big deal, right? It could put you in the hospital. So if that's their way of defining what serious is, it's a little bit strange to me. But it says symptoms include coughing. I assume it means symptoms of this Prevnar 13 vaccinations. What they really should say is the word side effects. But in actuality, there are no side effects to these drugs. These are just the effects. They're the straight, plain effects of these drugs. Symptoms include coughing, fever, chest pain, and difficulty breathing. One dose. So those don't sound all that bad, right? That sounds like something you could easily overcome using natural methods. Nebulizing colloidal silver. Now, I'm not suggesting you do these things, but I'm just saying that there are options. Go on to naturalnews.com or drmercola.com and look into some of these natural ways, or visit our website, extremehealthradio.com, and learn how to do these things. But it says here, one dose of the Prevnar 13 vaccine can help protect you. So again, look at this nebulous sort of generalized platitude language that they use here. One dose, we don't know what's in that dose, right? The Prevnar 13 vaccine can help protect you. Okay, so it doesn't say it will protect you. And it doesn't say what the protection is really all about or how it protects you or the mechanisms, the biological processes that happen. No, it just says it can protect you, can help. And what is it helping? Again, it's helping your immune system. If your immune system were working properly, you wouldn't need any help, right? But because your immune system is damaged by the food you eat, by the thoughts you think, by the stress levels in your life, by the fact that you're doing and living a life that you never set out to live, you're working a job you don't like, you have stress and anger and resentment and all this stuff in your life, and you're eating a poor diet and you're not getting enough sleep, if that's you, then maybe you do need the Prevnar 13 because your immune system obviously is not going to be doing any of the work for you. So it says here, even if you've already been vaccinated with another pneumonia vaccine, Prevnar 13 may help provide additional protection. Even if you've already been, so that sentence is code for if you've taken our competitors' products, if you've taken their products, don't worry, you can still boost your immune system, or you could be provided additional protection with the Prevnar 13. So basically it's saying, I don't care if you have a Lamborghini, I want to sell you this other Lamborghini too. I don't care if you have a Porsche, look at this Porsche. This Porsche will make you do this or that. And it's subconscious subliminal programming in the most effective way. Even if you've already been vaccinated with another. So they're trying to basically answer any questions. Again, it's a sales job. They're trying to answer any predetermined objections that you would have. And so the most common objection is if you've ever taken another pneumonia vaccine, could there be contraindications, right? And so one thing I really want to share with you too about how these vaccines are put together and these pharmaceutical drugs and antibiotics and things is roughly around 80% of them are derived from plant and nature-based sources. So what they do is there's a particular compound in a plant that seems to have an effect on the body in terms of how the body responds to a particular virus or organism or whatever disease they're studying. And when they have this compound from a plant that they've shown to have this effect, what they do is, because they can't sell the plant itself, they have to synthesize it. And they turn it into something that your body recognizes in a natural way, into a synthesized synthetic version of the same thing. But because it's synthesized, your body doesn't recognize it. Your body doesn't recognize things that are or substances and drugs that don't come from real nature. And so it turns something that's in a plant, they call it an alkaloid, in the plant into a synthesized version of that. So automatically it becomes way less effective. But what they do, because it becomes less effective, is they isolate that compound and they synthesize it in huge proportions so that you're getting way more than you would ever need if you ate that plant or juiced it or whatever in the wild on a daily basis. So they're taking it and they're just concentrating it so high to levels that your body doesn't even recognize. And they remove all of the buffering compounds and the buffering alkaloids that are in the plant itself. So there's a reason why certain plants have buffering alkaloids that's around the centralized medicine that's in the plant. So when you remove those buffering alkaloids, then you have nothing to buffer your body from it. So even if you had the plant itself in the wild and you remove the buffering alkaloids in the plant, it would still be more dangerous because your body doesn't know what to do with it because it's not balancing out the medicine that's in the plant with other chemicals that are in the plant itself. But when you do that and you synthesize it and turn it to a synthesized version of it, and then you concentrate it into such high levels, that's why you have things like interactions. You can't take this drug with this drug because your body doesn't even recognize what the original drug was, and then you put another drug. It's like what they do with cholesterol. Right? You have one drug and all of a sudden it lowers your levels of something, and you think that because your levels are lower, you're at a lower risk of dying. But then what it does is it affects your body's ability to create cholesterol, which affects your hormones. Then all of a sudden you get on this cascading effect, this trickle-down effect. Now you need something like Viagra to increase and enhance your sex life. Then that has its own set of effects. So you have to take another drug. And so you get this snowball effect where you're on all of a sudden 5 to 10 different medications. There's people on 30 medications because they start going down this path, and it's a bad path. And what you have to do is start educating yourself and start reading through the lines of what they're doing here. Last sentence. Actually, second to last sentence. The effectiveness of Prevnar 13 when given less than 5 years after another pneumonia vaccine has not been studied. Isn't that interesting? It says in the sentence before it, if you've taken another vaccine, that's okay to take the Prevnar 13. Next sentence, very next sentence is, if it's been given less than 5 years after another vaccine, it's never been studied. Dude, these people this is criminal here because this is killing people. This is actually killing people. So the last sentence is really interesting, and I'll sort of end with this. It says, ask your healthcare provider if Prevnar 13 is right for you. Interesting question, because what they're trying to do is they're not saying in a very bold way, you have this disease, you need this. What they're doing is very subtle. They're just saying, hey, ask your healthcare provider. Ask him. He may say it's a good thing. He may say it's a bad thing. He may not know about it and research it and get back to you. And so what they're doing is they're just saying, they're kind of opening up a casual conversation and saying, hey, ask him. And they're trying to sort of have a subtle, underhanded way of being sort of a hands-off approach and just saying, just go ask your healthcare practitioner. And I can guarantee you that the healthcare practitioner, your doctor, is going to, at least if they don't come out and fully endorse this, they're going to lean towards its effectiveness because they make a lot of money from that, right? These doctors are nothing more than glorified salesmen for the pharmaceutical companies. And most people don't realize that. They're there to push drugs. They're there to make you feel disempowered. They're there to make you feel like they're the authority over your health. But a lot of them are good. A lot of them want to help people. And so the real issue I have is with the pharmaceutical companies. Ask your healthcare provider, and that's sort of assuming that we all have a healthcare provider, right? Isn't it? I mean, for hundreds of thousands of years, did we even have a doctor? Maybe we had a shaman or some sort of medicine man that was in our tribe or something. But generally, we took care of our own health. But it's ask your healthcare practitioner as if we need a practitioner. And I would say that in society today, we do need healthcare practitioners because people have not decided to take responsibility for their own life, for their own finances, for their own health, for their own circumstances, for where they've ended up in life. So what they do is it's really easy to put people in white coats and call them experts at something and have them do all the hard work and the heavy lifting and determining what's right for my body. And so I invite you to be your own healthcare practitioner and ask yourself, right? I can guarantee you that if you were to sit and be quiet with yourself, pray to God, and really look within yourself and ask yourself if you need Prevnar 13, I'm going to suspect that the answer is going to be no. And it's just really interesting. I can keep going on and on about how they use subtle programming, but I just want you to know that they really do want to disempower you and to make you feel fearful and weak, with an inability to understand the complex nuances of how the body works. And they want to make you ask to somebody else, a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer or any of these people who are sort of concentrated their whole life's work in one area of life, and not realizing that just like the body, just like the lungs works in harmony with the heart, and the heart works in harmony with the liver and the gallbladder and the pancreas, and all these things, they work in unison together, and they're one entity. They're one organism. You can't have something that affects the liver not affect the heart, not affect the brain, not affect the blood, not affect your bones, not affect every area of your body, because we're all one being. And so when you have heart doctors and medical doctors that focus on the knees and other ones that focus on blood, it's insane, and it's done to keep us disempowered, confused, and needing some sort of authority figure to ask these questions to. I invite you to go on to drmercola.com, naturalnews.com, read the book Selling Sickness, do some research, go do a Google research of the top drugs that have been recalled or something like that, and find out how many people have died from these things. This is all public information. It's not public knowledge. It's out there. And start asking yourself and start looking how they're trying to make you feel a certain way with fear. They're starting making correlations between heart disease and pneumococcal pneumonia. And look at how they're trying to really get in your mind and ask you questions and build rapport with them, and have you feel disempowered and trust the CDC and all this stuff. So I invite you to start taking control of your health. Start taking control of your life. It starts with your health, then you're going to have more energy for other areas of your life. You're going to feel better. You're going to have more desire in every area of your life. You're going to be more motivated. Go on to our website, extremehealthradio.com. We've got 380 shows at this point, all for free, about an hour long, on all kinds of different subjects. Go on there and just listen to your heart's content. Listen to these people talk about natural and alternative ways to heal your body. And I also invite you to if you want to take it a step further and really become your own doctor, so you can look at this kind of trash and look and read between the lines, go onto our website, sign up to our newsletter list. That way you'll never miss a show. We do shows on we do a show every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Our newsletter comes out Monday and Friday, and you'll get updates on upcoming events and conferences and online summits that are all free on a wide number of subjects that are out there available for free. You'll get our latest blog posts. You'll never miss a show, and you'll get some empowering information that I hope will help open your mind to see the subtle nuances and the subtle complexities of how they're programming. I mean, this ad here is on page 19 of Country Living, June 15, page 19. So they're assuming that the majority of the people that pick up this magazine are going to get to page 19, so they're paid for a primo spot. That's for a reason. Everything is done here for a reason. It's psychological ways to manipulate you into thinking you need drugs and you need these things in order to live on planet Earth, when in reality, simple dietary changes, simple lifestyle changes, simple changes in your fitness, simple changes in your outlook and your ability to lower your stress in your life, all these things you can do almost for free, and have 1,000 to 100,000 times more effectiveness than taking some sort of drug for a disease that may or may not be serious, or may or may not even be related at all to heart disease. So I invite you to empower yourself. Get on this health journey. Start learning how your body works. Stop giving your power away to these pharmaceutical drug companies that have these vaccines. I mean, if you don't know the person who actually did the formulation of these drugs, then I wouldn't take them. I mean, you wouldn't walk down the street, and if you saw some random stranger drinking a bottle of water halfway through his bottle of water and gave it to you to drink, you don't know what that guy's got, right? He could have some disease. You wouldn't drink it. And in that case, you are communicating, you're looking right at the guy who gave you the substance to drink. You can shake his hand, you can look in his eyes and see if he's an honorable guy. How many levels removed are we from the formulator of these vaccines? We're probably, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 layers removed, 20 layers removed. And, we don't know their ethics. So if you don't know their ethics and you don't know who's doing the formulation of these things, I would highly suggest you look further into it before you put something like that in your body. Because if you do, you're going to be one of the part of the recalls that they put together. So in any event, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, make sure to sign up to our newsletter. We'd greatly appreciate it. We do our shows, like I said, every Friday morning live at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to be doing more shows and doing all kinds of more stuff to educate and empower people to live their best life. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.